And let me ask you this one, Kurt Warner. If I had told you back in the summer when this deal with Micah Parsons was going down, right? If I had told you that Jerry Jones could trade Micah Parsons for Kenny Clark, Quinnen Williams, and a first-round draft choice, would you have made that trade? Because that's what's happening right now. Because he was able to flip his one 2 years from now because he's got one from Green Bay in his back pocket. Yeah. And he got Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark, and obviously he flipped another two to the Jets for Quinnen. But this is the end result right now here, as we know it, going into week 10 of this season. They are 3-5-1, partially because Micah's not there to rush the passer. So what do you think now that we're here?
I mean, I think, if a couple years from now, if we see what that number one pick does and who that is, you obviously got two really good players, in Clark and Williams. I mean, obviously they're good football players without a doubt. So you've upgraded the interior, your defensive line, but you've also lost, a guy that most of us feel is a generational type player. And so, again, I think it's always hard for me to go, okay, it's a good move to let somebody go that is such a difference maker like Micah is. I remember when I was in Arizona and, played with Anquan Bolden. And there was always talk about, him leaving. And obviously the year after I retired, they sent him on his way to another place. And, it was always the talk about, well, he's not the most talented guy, doesn't run the fastest, all of these things. And all I thought every time I heard it was like, you guys don't get it. I mean, this guy is a great football player. He brings things to the table that I don't care if you get somebody faster or that fits your mold more. They will not be Anquan Bolden. They won't bring to the table what he does. But too many people miss that. Now, I'm not sure they miss that necessarily with Micah because you see it. But my point being is that these guys that are great football players change the complexion of everything for your football team. How you play, what you believe. When the game's on the line, you've got a guy that you can go to in those situations and will make that play, will be that difference maker for you. And so those guys I don't think can ever be overvalued. But I think a lot of teams do. They think they're overvalued because whatever, we can get two guys, we can get a first round pick. But what they do is special and different. And I just, to me, I don't know if you ever win. And again, we can see what that first round pick is they get in a couple years. But, Clark and Williams are good players. They're not Micah Parsons. And so to me, you don't win unless you find a way to replace that difference-making piece that Micah Parsons brings to the table, even though they have a lot of other issues. That difference-making piece is what this game is all about. At the end of the day, there's a lot of parity in this league. What separates the great teams from everybody else are having enough of those kind of players that in the moment make the play that are difference-making plays, and that's what it's all about. And so it's hard. I'm hard-pressed to think that the Dallas has won this trade, this trade battle.
Does the acquisition of Quinnon Williams mean the Cowboys won the Micah Parsons trade?
No doubt.
Oh.
No doubt. And Jerry Jones is the easiest, biggest target in all of sports. I don't think anybody gets criticized more than Jerry Jones does. So, a lot of times by me.
I was just going to say that.
Thank you.
I was just going to say that.
In this case, he deserves his flowers because I believe, we're going to get into this, but I think he won the trade deadline because if you told me a year ago, after I had to sit through another year of Micah Parsons disappearing in games, if you told me a year ago I could have Quinnen Williams for Micah Parsons, I would have been tempted to say, okay, I'll close my eyes and do it. Obviously, Quinnen's not an edge rusher. He can't wreck games quite as easily and effectively as an edge rusher can. But in this case, he's got 40 sacks in his career, and if anybody can wreck a game coming up the middle, it's Quinnon Williams. And to your point, there's no better run stuffer in pro football than Quinnon Williams. So now if you tell me I got Quinnon Williams and Kenny Clark, who has made a Pro Bowl, and you tell me that, wait a second, you still have Green Bay's first-round pick in this next draft. You still have that and your own. I'm saying, thank you, God. There is a God. You know, like way to go, Jerry Jones. Congratulations.
Wow.
You finally did something not just right. You won the day, man. We're back in business because of this trade, because Kenny Clark and Quinnon Williams are the opposite intangibly of Micah Parsons. Micah's a solo act. Micah's not a leader. Jerry kept trying to talk him into being a leader. He's just not. He's really good at social media. He's really good at podcasting. And Quinnon and Kenny Clark are really good locker room leaders. They're forces in the locker room and in the defensive huddle, as well as forces on the football field. So I don't know what's not to love about this, because to me, everybody says, oh, Micah's the next Reggie White. No, he's not. But Quinnon Williams is much closer to Reggie White than Micah Parsons is for what Reggie did. Now, Reggie could do it all. You could put him anywhere. But Quinnon has Reggie to him, to me. And I knew Reggie. I know what he could do. Mike is just pure quickness and speed off the edge. But now I've got two anchors in the middle of a defensive front that will serve us well, not just now, but forevermore, for a long time. So I just say, yeah, this is a home run trade now for Jerry Jones.
I like it, Skip.
Cowboys Nation, after weeks of frustration, criticism, and disappointment, it finally feels like the tide might be turning in Dallas. The Cowboys have made two critical defensive additions, linebacker Logan Wilson and defensive tackle Quinnon Williams. And these moves could very well define how the rest of this season unfolds. Let's not sugarcoat it. Through the first half of the 2025 season, the Dallas Cowboys defense has been one of the biggest letdowns in the NFL. They currently rank 32nd in third down defense, allowing opponents to convert a staggering 52.6% of their third down attempts. That's dead last. When more than half of your opponent's drives stay alive, you don't just lose momentum, you lose control of the game entirely. The numbers tell one story, but the eye test tells another. This defense has looked tired, confused, and disconnected. Missed tackles, soft coverage, poor gap control, the kind of mistakes that destroy championship-caliber teams. And when the defense can't get off the field, Dak Prescott and the offense sit cold on the sidelines, forced to play from behind every single week. But now, things are changing. And for once, Cowboys fans have a reason to believe again. The third down meltdown. Let's talk about what's going wrong, because to fix the problem, we have to understand it. The Cowboys' third down issues aren't just about execution. They're about structure. Early in games, Dallas has struggled to stop the run on first and second down. That means they're constantly facing third and short situations. And in the NFL, that's a recipe for disaster. Even when the defensive line wins off the snap, quarterbacks have been finding soft zones or exploiting late reads by the linebackers. The result? Drive after drive kept alive by small mistakes that add up to big consequences. Defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus knows it. The players know it. And now Jerry Jones and the front office have finally decided to do something about it. Logan Wilson, the field general, arrives. Enter Logan Wilson, the veteran linebacker out of Cincinnati. Wilson isn't just a physical presence, he's a mental one. This is a player who brings elite instincts, leadership, and coverage ability. Over his career with the Bengals, Wilson recorded 11 interceptions, 7 forced fumbles, and over 100 tackles in 4 straight seasons. But beyond the stats, it's his football IQ that sets him apart. Dallas has desperately missed that kind of leadership in the middle of the field since trading Micah Parsons. Wilson changes that immediately. He reads offenses like a quarterback. He communicates assignments before the snap. He closes passing windows that other linebackers can't even see. On third down, the down that's been haunting the Cowboys all season, Wilson's awareness can be the difference between another first down and finally forcing a punt. And perhaps just as importantly, he brings calm to the chaos. Every great defense needs a commander. Wilson is that commander, and now he wears the star. Quinnon Williams, the missing piece up front. While Wilson brings order to the second level, Quinnon Williams brings violence to the trenches. The former New York Jet has been one of the most disruptive interior linemen in football for years, and that's exactly what this Dallas has been missing. A dominant presence inside who can collapse pockets, draw double teams, and make quarterbacks uncomfortable from the first snap to the last. When Williams is on the field, he forces offensive lines to change their protection schemes. That opens up opportunities for edge rushers and linebackers to make plays. It's the domino effect this defense has been begging for. So far this season, opposing quarterbacks have had all day to throw against Dallas. That stops now. When Williams pushes the pocket, timing routes break down, screens fail, and those third and short conversions suddenly become third and long. He's not just a run stopper, he's an offensive disruptor, and he gives the Cowboys something they haven't had since the days of prime Jay Ratliff. A true difference maker at defensive tackle. And let's not forget, Williams commands respect. He's a Pro Bowl caliber talent who's been through wars in the AFC East. That veteran experience, combined with his raw power, instantly changes the tone of this defensive front. Rebuilding the identity. So what happens when you add a linebacker who can lead and a defensive tackle who can dominate? You rebuild your defensive identity from the inside out. The Cowboys' defense has been reactionary all year, sitting back, playing soft, and hoping to bend without breaking. Wilson and Williams bring the opposite energy. They force offenses to adjust to them. With Wilson calling plays and Williams blowing up protections, Eberflus can get creative again, disguise blitzes, rotate safeties, and actually dictate tempo. That's what championship defenses do. This is how you fix a broken system. You bring in players who elevate everyone around them, not just in talent, but in mentality. For too long, Dallas has been a team that looks talented on paper, but struggles when the lights come on. These additions could be the spark that changes that narrative. A message from the front office. Jerry Jones made it clear when these trades were finalized. The Cowboys are not giving up on 2025. Despite a disappointing 3-5-1 start, this is a team that still believes it can compete, and Wilson and Williams are proof of that commitment. The Cowboys didn't make these moves to prepare for next year. They made them because they want to win now. Jerry called these trades moves that would help the team immediately, and he was right. This is about sending a message to the locker room, to the fans, and to the entire NFL that the Cowboys aren't folding. They're reloading. The road to redemption. Make no mistake, this isn't an instant fix. Wilson and Williams will need time to adapt to Matt Eberflus's system, learn the communication structure, and build chemistry with teammates. But even so, the impact will be felt immediately. Expect fewer long drives. Expect tighter coverage in the flats in the middle of the field. Expect more pressure on opposing quarterbacks. And most importantly, expect belief, because belief has been missing from this defense since week 1. For the first time in months, the Cowboys defense finally has leadership, strength, and attitude back in the building. And when that happens in Dallas, momentum tends to follow. Cowboys Nation, it's time to believe again. Cowboys fans, this is your moment. We've seen the frustration. We've seen the criticism. We've heard the noise about how this defense has fallen apart since losing Micah Parsons. But now, with Logan Wilson and Quinnen Williams wearing the star, there's hope again. This is the kind of move that can flip a season upside down. This is how great teams respond to adversity, not by complaining, but by acting. So the question now is simple. Can these two new stars, one in the middle, one in the trenches, bring this defense back to life? Can Wilson and Williams turn the Cowboys from the league's worst third down defense into one of its most feared units? Because if they can, this team isn't just back in the playoff race, they're back in the conversation. And if that happens, no one will want to face the Dallas Cowboys in December. This isn't about 1 or 2 games. This is about changing the tone for the rest of the season. Wilson and Williams might be the missing pieces that finally allow this defense to breathe again, to play with confidence, swagger, and pride. The third down nightmare might not vanish overnight, but the message is clear. The Cowboys are done being pushed around. The star on the helmet still means something, and with these 2 new warriors leading the charge, Dallas might just be ready to prove it again. Cowboys Nation, do you believe this is the move that can save the season? Drop your thoughts below. Should Jerry Jones keep adding pieces, or have we finally found the key to unlocking this defense? Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Cowboys Nation Report, and join the conversation, because the fight isn't over, it's just beginning. The Dallas Cowboys is still alive, and for the first time in a long time, the defense might finally be ready to fight back.